Hello and welcome to the United Stand, Jose Mourinho's press conference reaction. We've also got an update from Pep's as well. I'll tell you what I will say first of all though, what a bloody disappointment from both managers. I mean, this is should we just cancel it? Should we just cancel this derby? Because there's not really any passion from either of them. Pep's bloody moaning about, obviously he's upset about what happened the other night. Mourinho doesn't want to answer any bloody questions. Do they not realise that for the fans, this is massive? I'm so excited about the game tomorrow night. Manchester derby at Etihad, going into the Lions Den, stop them winning for the bloody title. And both managers have got faces like a smacked arse. I mean, I was quite optimistic when Mourinho walked into the press conference. He was smiling and everything like that. I thought, oh, you know, maybe, well, he's had a whole week to get his team ready. He hasn't had any Champions League football, totally focused, looked happy, walks in. First few questions, kills it dead, refuses to answer some questions. I thought there was a really, really good question from Simon Stone from the BBC when he said that in January you beat Manchester City to Alexis Sanchez in context of you clearly can compete with Man City when it comes to money. How does that make you feel about the gap? And he was like, can I? Do you know that? I choose not to answer that. And he wouldn't answer any question that actually we would want to see answered. No, he doesn't have to answer them. He is the manager of Manchester United. That's it. He's not duty-bound to answer questions. There was another good question about Liverpool. Were Liverpool the blueprint on Wednesday night on how to beat Man City? Shut that down. Hardly even answered it. No, not relevant. Don't want to talk about that. So you don't want to talk about the fact that your opposition that has annihilated everybody this season, you don't want to talk about the fact that 2 days ago, 3 days before you're going to play them, somebody played a system that absolutely destroyed them for 45 minutes. But it's not relevant. Don't need to talk about that. Don't want to talk about it. And I saw a lot of people reacting to it on social media, and they're reading into it that this means we are parking the bus. There was a few big, obvious sort of hints that he's going to park the bus. One being that he totally dismissed what Liverpool did on Wednesday and wouldn't talk about it. And another one being he was asked a direct question, is the objective tomorrow at the Etihad to stop your big rivals winning the title? No, my objective is second place and getting points to secure that second place. Not getting wins to secure that second place, getting points. A point tomorrow, park the bus point. That's not my interpretation of it. Some people have said that. Martial will play tomorrow, says Dinesh, and then you're going to wake up. Jose will 100% park the bus, says Nathan Brown. Jihil says it's buffering for him. Hopefully it's not buffering for anybody else. I think we've had a bit of I think YouTube's just having problems at the moment. I don't really understand what it's all about. But just very, very quickly, I must just announce we've got to give away I've got this down here. Very, very important. It was for the promotion we did the other night. Giving away an iPhone. I hope he's watching. I'm going to email him anyway because I've got his email address. Well done to Mark Atherton. You have won the iPhone from the competition we did the other day. Thanks for everybody who entered it. We've got more and more to come, but well done to Mark Atherton. You've won the iPhone on a Friday as well. Hopefully, you know, be finishing work in a couple of hours. Drinks are on you down the pub. Maybe you don't drink. Maybe teetotal. I don't know. But there you go. Biosphere says Jose needs to go. Hashtag Jose's never going to change, says Biosphere. Jose's playing mind games, says Pankaj. I don't think he's playing any mind games, mate. That's not mind games, being a miserable sod and not answering questions. He was very miserable. I've took some notes down here. It wasn't about mind games. It was miserable. It was miserable. Also, we have got we've got another prize to give away with you as well. It's to do with the Manchester derby. It's a promotion through Ladbrokes. You've got to be over 18 to gamble. Terms and conditions are in the bottom, but effectively 25 to 1 for there to be a goal in the Manchester derby tomorrow. Now, you might be a bit concerned about that if Mourinho's going to park the bus, but we'll go through that in a minute. But there's a chance to win a Manchester United shirt again for that as well. So lots to get involved with. But let's get back into this. Kieran, I've seen your email, or Kyron, I think is how he pronounces it. I will email you back after this show. Don't worry, mate. I have seen it. Jose is miserable. Is that even news anymore, says Andrew K. So let's summarise what he said. Well, Pep Guardiola, first of all, he said, if we win tomorrow, then we will deal with how we react to that. But got training this afternoon. He was asked about whether he's going to rest players. He's got training this afternoon, but he will select a team to win this game. And you know what? As much as people are saying, oh, it's really negative of Pep to rest players because that Liverpool tie is over, at least he gives out the message that he's going to select a team to win the game. I thought Pep was quite miserable in his press conference as well, but he did state those words, I'm going to select a team to win the game. you couldn't get that. You couldn't get that from Jose. So yeah, really, really. I wouldn't say disappointed. I just think he looks so miserable. He looks so miserable. This is the biggest game of the season. This is one of the biggest games of the season. Sorry, it's massive for the city of Manchester. It's massive for the fans globally. We're excited about it, and I would like to have got something from the manager that was so. If that's an indication of what we're going to do tomorrow, it's not a good indication, because the press conference was so defensive. He basically parked the bus in his press conference, I suppose. So he was asked about... well, actually, he wasn't. I was watching MUTV, and the presenter said before it, he said, this game is really, like what many of you said and what we've said as well, this is really a game for us to set a marker for next season. We've all said that, and I do agree with that. It is a game to set a marker for next season. He was asked about that next season and what it means for next season, and he said, "Well, the points gap will define that." It's like how do we? I think the question was more posed: how easy is it to close the gap on Man City for next season? And he said the points tally will define that. We're not at the end of the season yet. He was very moody in his replies, I must say. So the points gap at the moment is 16 points. What will it be at the end of the season? And I think he was sort of like saying, if it's 16 points, what do you expect me to do? There was a lot. He just seemed very, very resigned, very negative, and I didn't like that. And I thought Simon Stone's question from the BBC was bang on. I mean, nobody ever asks about Martial. I don't know why, but his question was bang on. Like I said at the start, when he said you competed with Man City for Sanchez, that shows that you can compete with them in the transfer market. So what's, sort of like saying, so what is it that's stopping you closing the gap? And Mourinho really was very defensive about that. Oh, you know that Man City wanted Sanchez, do you? What money did I think he basically wanted to say that Pep's got an open checkbook and I haven't. Again, postpone the title for City tomorrow. My motivation is second. The objective is points for second place, as I said. He said normally we'd be fighting for a title with the points tally that we've got, but City just have too many points. Again, he was moody about money, and the Liverpool game doesn't matter. Although he did say he has got the players to hurt Manchester City. Depends what his tactic is to hurt them. If it's Fellaini and long balls into the box, that might hurt them. But yeah, look, there's no right way or wrong way to do press conferences. It's what happens on the pitch that matters, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, do we? But it sounded to me like he didn't want to have this game tomorrow, which I can sort of understand. I mean, it's not a nice situation to be going into. But the Manchester Derby is meant to be such a big game, and I'm so excited for it, and I'm sure so many of you are. But I do get that sort of vibe off Pep Guardiola and Jose Mourinho that they really aren't interested in this game, and I just wonder what's going on. Well, forget Man City, but what is going on at Manchester United when our manager doesn't seem to be that interested in a massive game like this? It just doesn't sit well as to what he's got. And I will repeat this again. I am slightly concerned now. He cannot park the bus tomorrow. I don't give a shit about... I mean, I've just swore. I apologise for that. I shouldn't do that. I don't give a damn about a point for second place tomorrow. Screw second place. I'm not bothered about second place. I don't care if we've been second all season. I think Mourinho feels we deserve second place because we've been second all season. If it's not first place, I ain't bothered. I'm not really that bothered. We're not going to finish out the top four. We've got Champions League football. That's great. Tomorrow's about next season. It's not about, oh, let's get a point and finish second. Tomorrow is about next season. It's about putting a marker down. Like they said on MUTV, it's about putting a marker down, giving the fans something that they can cling on to for next season, that we can have a good transfer market, and effectively, in one sentence, it's about how we play tomorrow. And I think Mourinho got very frustrated when he was asked that question: was Liverpool's performance on Wednesday night the blueprint for how you beat Man City, and was that result on Wednesday night a big factor in this game at the weekend? And he said no. And I disagree. I think it's a massive, massive thing. Whether he chooses to use that blueprint or whether he's going to go with something very different, I don't know. I think the first we're going to know about it is the team selection at 4:30 tomorrow, an hour before the kickoff. If he's got Fellaini in there, we're screwed. They can get off. It's Jose. What time is the game? It's 5:30 tomorrow. Obviously, he's going to play it down. They could have it in the bag against us, says the Devils wears Prada. Look, you know what? I think that's a very good comment from him to say, you know, Mourinho's got to play it down. But there's playing it down and there's, you know, there's playing it down and there's giving the fans something. I think if you looked at Mourinho's press conference and when you watch it later, if you watch it, you will come out of that thinking he's just been very defensive to very good questions and he's not instilled any confidence in me about tomorrow at all. You know, Pep Guardiola has said, I'm going to pick a team to win it. Mourinho has said, I'm going to try and get points to get a second place. Points can be read as 3 points or a point. Zakev says, what if he plays defensive tomorrow but he attacks for the rest of the season? If he attacks, the same questions from people who doubt him will be there, won't he? He only attacks against the lesser teams. He won't do it against the big teams. You've got to do it against the big teams. Kieran Burns said, we're going to try and get points that will help us get second. We're parking the bus. There is playing it down and there is killing the vibe, says Christopher Agui. Yeah, I think he killed the vibe a bit. Go over to the Etihad and we'll find the bus already packed in, says AJ Malone. You know what, as well, I think I wanted something from Mourinho to cling on to, if I'm totally honest. I don't know about you lot, but I've been looking around social media this morning and there is big account after big account. You know what these accounts are. You know, the ones that are basically, they're not a specific football club. They're not BBC. They are basically set up by somebody like myself or you, but they front as being like ultra sport. You know, they cover all sport. Take the piss channels, I call them. And there's all of them. One of them must have done it at 9 o'clock this morning, and they all follow each other and went, oh yeah, that got a few retweets. Let's do it. Yeah, we'll do it. Let's do it. Let's change a word a little bit. Let's get a different picture of a bus. And they're all doing it. The bus is on the big red bus is on the way to Etihad for the derby. And it's been irritating me all morning because that is what we are. That's what we are perceived to be by everybody else at the moment and some of our support. We are perceived as Manchester United going into a big game, any big game, as we're going to go and park the bus. That's what everybody sees us now. For most of my life, Manchester United, whether we were winning titles or not, have always been perceived as a team that's going to take a risk, is going to attack. We are now perceived as a team that's going to park the bus. That's a little thing, but a big thing. Why tomorrow, if we parked the bus and won, what is, apart from stopping City winning the title and winning a Manchester derby, what do we really get out of it longevity-wise? What do we get from parking the bus and beating them? I mean, I'm not opposed to parking the bus in certain circumstances, and Sir Alex Ferguson did it sometimes. But when that's what we're being defined as, a team that parks the bus against big teams, what's the future in that? What's the future? I mean, doesn't mean we won't win the Premier League next year. Doesn't mean we won't win the Champions League next year. I think it's highly unlikely. But if we do win one of football's big prizes, we always know that when we play a big team, it's going to be stressful. It's going to be backs to the wall, and we're going to try and frustrate the opposition into nicking a win. And that's our future, is it? No, that's not our future. That can't be our future. And I think Jose realises that can't be our future. But I just hope tomorrow it's just like, oh, I'm just going to do it again one more time. Because if he does it again tomorrow, it's always going to be in his back of his head, isn't it? Oh, I'll just do it one more time. Oh, I'll do it at Spurs. I'll just one more time, and then next season I'll get us playing properly. And then the start of next season we play Man City in, say, September. One more time, just so that we don't lose to them later on in the season. I'll attack them, and then later on in the season, it's an important game. One more time, I'm going to park the bus, and it never disappears. It's got to go. It's got to disappear completely. We need to change our manager, says Albert David. Too simplistic. And where are you guys watching from? Says Jahel. Well, let everybody know where you're watching from. We've got 1,500 people watching anyway. Please do drop a like on the video. Let's see if we can get 500 likes while we're live. And saving the juicy bits for the embargo, says I like Nando's. Yes, so Manchester United have this press conference embargo where further bits are released at 10:30 on the evening. So we'll get further bits from 10:30 tonight. But you can sort of see where it's going. I don't think Mourinho's going to give anything. I don't think there's any juicy bits at 10:30. He was shutting down questions. There was one question, and I forget what it was. Oh, I know. Yeah, I remember now. He was asked a question by a female journalist. I recognise her. I don't know whether she's actually from MUTV or something. I recognise her. I don't know where I recognise her from. She asked a question and she said, a fair question. She said, Why? Basically along the lines of how good is this Manchester City team? Because a lot of people are saying this Man City team's a great team. You've managed teams yourself, like Chelsea. What's your opinion on that? No, don't want to do it. But you've managed a great team yourself, Jose, in Chelsea. Yeah? Don't want to answer it. Didn't want to give any praise to Man City. Didn't want to talk anything about Man City. His whole mood was weird. It wasn't just about what Liverpool did to Man City. It wasn't just about we got Sanchez and they didn't. It wasn't just about they're going to win the league. He wouldn't entertain anything at all. Very moody about absolutely everything. Even though he walked in with a smile on his face. So, how do you think we'll approach the game, Mark? Says Luca. Get the yellow pen out. Okay, I can get the yellow pen out. This is how I think we'll approach the game. That's a bad bus, but you know, doing it with my laptop. No, I don't know. I don't know whether we're going to park the bus or not. I'm praying to God that we don't. I think if we do, how do you feel? How do you feel if we do that tomorrow? Let me know. How do you feel? Ali Sahaula said Jose looked really depressed in that press conference. He did. It was so weird though because he walked in smiling, and I thought, oh, we're going to get a bit of optimism. I mean, just as a parallel universe, he could have carried on with that. Look, let me answer the questions if I'm a positive Jose Mourinho. Let's try an alternative press conference. So, Jose, big game against Manchester City tomorrow. Is the motivation to stop them winning the title in the Manchester Derby? Well, obviously we're in second place at the moment. We want to fight for that because we've been there all season. But Manchester City, Manchester United, it's a special game. If they win tomorrow, they win the title. We've got a responsibility to not only the people of Manchester, but global support to stop them doing that tomorrow. So our motivation is obviously to get points for second place. But we've got to stop Manchester City and do everything we can do to stop Man City winning that game tomorrow. Thanks, Jose. Really positive. Next question. Alexis Sanchez. How does he? Is he an indicator of how you can close the gap with Man City because you can compete against them in the transfer market because they wanted Alexis Sanchez as well? Well, it's a good question, Simon. I mean, I don't know for certain that Manchester City did want Alexis Sanchez, and we can be competitive in the transfer market. But look, Manchester City have spent £300 million on their defence. They've got rid of 2 international goalkeepers to make their mind up about their third one. And I feel that, you know, the stats are there. Pep Guardiola and Manchester City have spent more money than I have. But I've got support in the transfer market if and when we need players, and I'm confident in the players I've got for tomorrow. Thank you. Move on to the next question. Liverpool on Wednesday night. Was that the blueprint on how you beat Manchester City, and do you think it will have an impact on Manchester City in the game at the weekend? You know what? I think it was an amazing game. I don't think anybody could have predicted that. It was a game of 2 halves, 0-0 in the second half, but Liverpool in the first half, they didn't actually have that many attacks, but they scored with their attacks, whereas Manchester City had a lot of the ball. I found it interesting. I don't think it's necessarily a blueprint how to beat Manchester City. I think on a different game, on a different night, that result could have been a little bit different. But no, a derby's different. A derby's a great leveller, and I'll have my own way of approaching this game and trying to get us the results that the fans want. Thank you. Any other questions, anybody? Okay, let's have a look. Liverpool game, yes, we covered that. No blueprint. In relation to next season, Jose, how do you feel about closing that gap on Manchester City? Well, again, Manchester City are a long way ahead of us, but we're second place. We've been second place all season. So the gap isn't conceivably that big for us next season. It is this year, and the league doesn't lie in March. For me, there's many reasons why we aren't in a title race this year, and a lot of that comes down to the fact that Manchester City have been ridiculously consistent in relation to winning games. Something that we have been, but next season we'll have to look at how we can close that gap. Can Manchester City repeat what they've done this season? Can we be better than what we are this season ourselves? Of course we can, and that's our aim for next season. There we go. And those answers are pretty much the answers he gave, but with a more positive spin, where he can still get the message across without overcommitting, but giving us as fans something to cling on to. But he didn't want to do that, did he? He didn't want to do it. Marquinhos, says Hans Magon. No, look, I love Jose Mourinho. I just don't like seeing him like that. And he looked very, very, very moody. And he looked very, very defensive. And we don't want to see that in a game like that tomorrow. Alfie Munns, I think, has hit the nail on the head. We need a fast midfield tomorrow. I saw a tweet today saying, would you have played Herrera? And a lot of people were like, no, we don't really need him. And the one thing I would say about that Liverpool game, and Mourinho could never answer it this way, but I would, is the reason that Liverpool caused Manchester City so many problems on Wednesday night is they had 3 tenacious fast midfielders getting at Man City very, very quickly in the first 5 seconds of them getting the ball. We only have one midfielder in the whole squad who can do that, and his name's Ander Herrera, and he may not even start tomorrow. So if you're talking about what Liverpool did really well, and let's be honest, Henderson, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Milner, they're not great midfielders. What they are is tenacious and quick across the ground. And Matic might be better than Herrera, but Herrera's quicker. Matic will play anyway, but I would play a midfield 3. Anyway, let me just... what was his name? Mark Atherton won the iPhone, in case he's one of the people who've joined us late. Well done on that. Our next thing that we've got for you, link in the video description for Ladbrokes. You've got to be over 18 to enter. Basically, it's a sign-up offer for new customers. 25 to 1 you will get on a goal being scored in the Manchester Derby tomorrow. So it's an exclusive United stand sign-up offer through Ladbrokes for the Manchester Derby. Link in the video description. 25 to 1 for a goal to be scored in the Derby. You will get your odds at whatever those odds are, and the remaining odds will be paid out in free bets, which you must use within 4 days. But free bets are good because they're free bets, and you just go and bet it on something like, I don't know, don't bet on Arsenal, but, you know, something obvious that will get you your money in. And also, we will be giving away a Manchester United shirt to picked at random during the watch along tomorrow for people who actually sign up to it. So link in the video description for that. Mark Atherton, well done. You've won the iPhone, and we've got another offer for you there. But 25 to 1, new customers, you've got to be over 18. Really good offer there, and you can win a United shirt for yourselves as well, which we've done before. So Jack Webb says, Moo is not trying to give anything away, so he gets applauded when we rock up playing attacking football. Good point, Jack Webb. That's the sort of thing I want to see. That is the sort of thing I want to see. I hope it is a bit like that, keeping his cards close to his chest. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Thanks everyone for watching. It was only meant to be a quick one, but we got into a really good chat as all usual. So massive applause to you lot. Please do drop a like on the video before you leave. Don't forget to have a go on the Ladbrokes thing if you're over 18, and do gamble responsibly. 25 to 1 for a goal in the Manchester Derby. Link in the video description, and everybody who signs up will go into the draw to win a United shirt. Faison says it's going to be a boring 0-0. We are back tonight at 8 o'clock, and I've got Sophie on the show tonight at 8 o'clock. She's doing the fan cams as well tomorrow. Big weekend. I'm really excited about it. Sophie's doing the fan cams after the game at the Etihad. If you're going to be there, get down and get yourself on one. She's going to come on the show at 8 o'clock tonight as well. We've got the watch along tomorrow. We're pumped up. The United Stand community, we're pumped up for it. We want our manager and our players to get pumped up as well. Come on, this is a big game. See you all at 8 o'clock tomorrow, and I'll see you at 8 o'clock. Thanks for watching. What do you mean the link's not in the video description? It is. It's in the first paragraph. Ladbrokes, 25 to 1 goal in the Derby offer. And then you click the link. There you go. Cheers, everyone. You think Sevilla players don't get in my team? That's a rubbish Mourinho. That's rubbish. That's a rubbish Mourinho